will say the prayer on page number 10. Each verse we will say 2 times in Tibetan, all the way to page number 12. And on page number 13, mandala offering we will say 1 time in Tibetan. Afterward, we will say in English. I will let you the number. Chanjo bado dane yazonje daye jenzo jebe sonanje dola penje sanje dobarsho sanje chedan zoje chanjo bado dane yazonje daye zo jewe sonanje dola penje sanje robarsho senje tamje dewa dan dewe dan tembar je senje tamje dunga je dan ravar ji senje tamje dunga bebe dewa dan ravar je senje tamje yeran chada ye dan rave tanyon la ne war je senje tamje dewa dewe je dan war je senje tamje dunga je dan war je senje tamje dunga bebe dewa dan war je senje tamje nyeran chada ye dan rave tanyon la ne war je ro la je ne de jamba de san ye jan do me de bo ye lo bo nan da shen la jo bar sho ye na go ro ra na me ra la pa me ya me. In English, on page number 11, I take refuge in the Guru, I take refuge in the Buddha, I take refuge in the Dharma, I take refuge in the Sangha. From now until my enlightenment, I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. And by the merit created in this practice, may I attain the state of Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. May all sentient beings enjoy happiness and its causes. May all sentient beings be free from suffering and its causes. May all sentient beings never be separated from joyful bliss. May all sentient beings abide in equanimity, free of bias, attachment, and anger. This ground, anointed with perfume, strewn with flowers, Mount Meru, encircled by the four continents, surmounted by the sun and the moon, I visualize this Buddha field and offer it. May all living beings enjoy the pure land. Idam Guru Rana Medana Kame Yandaya.
Some stretch delicious.
Greeting to all of you.
Tangan tu bom jaga yang cerita. Jadi sekolah.
So we will meditate on Buddha compassions and also recite the compassion mantra.
아니 저리서 그 끝 잡롱다 단데 샘송도 통고 되지. 아니 단 나랑도 딱 아마 종안이 시카츠 그 뒤랑라. 리다들 총간나 랩더를 때 냠땡가 그때 많이 돼지. 아니 샘 다가랑 많이 되면 이치라 때지네. 아주 링이 있으면 뭐 디치 내식도 봐 듣다가 맞추시고서
좋습니다.
링이 있으면
네.
속시게 됐다.
As you see behind me, there is the whole set of offering, and in the middle, I place the Buddha of Compassion, the statue of the Buddha of Compassion, Chenrisik, and so we will meditate maybe 15 to 20 minutes, and of course, during the meditation, our the body or the physical present in this building, but and also we will recite the mantra verbally, but make sure you do in this building mentally, and so during the recitations and the meditations, make sure you combine all your body, speech, and mind, and dual in this very assembly hall.
다공절 수도 아니 전리즈 그때 성도 동도 지금 많이 봐. 양지기랑 양지기를 랑지 심시데 등을 땅잖아. 사비 삼로 양지기 랑지 시간 로 심시탐 랑지 때다베 하크 남바 샤와데 진짜 숨겨랑지 로 때는 직삼지.
So when you visualize the Buddha of Compassion's Chenrisik, the statue, not just the statue like the made out of copper or just ordinary statue, whatever material that made out of, but rather you have to have some sort of like the notions of the knowledge or the preserve the or understand the it is the embodiments of the compassions, and where there is the lives of the rainbow lights, and 자수나가 따되어지라.
잠수 나지도 거르지. 능 와이데 능 왔다들 랑진지 몇 배동 왔듯이. 잠수 나지.
So you have to visualize the Buddha compassions like the rainbow, the body of the rainbow, or the lives of the rainbow, and but a nature of its empty.
이나 랑진 동발 때 능와 요로 잠순데.
For example, the rainbow body we see it appears and we can see, but it isn't there. It is empty. Similarly, we have to visualize the Buddha compassions like this.
근데 다 특별한 거 뭐 특성 세대 안다 맞다 베스면 시험에다 안 특별한 잔리즈 성kun 특별한 산 특별한 데 로아 심지다 스텔라 메톡군 안에 메톡바 마카시니야 되는 저티키네 벤 나출 지글롬비나 로츠당다 바 얘가 난 지금 능력강 매와 때리지는 거네 근데 탐지가 ngone omane pa no da tani do telis gom sikome sa
Ito di
ziti kyo 정말 메토 파밀리 나네 야 이는 정말 샌디스 그 넘버 진데 정말 ngone ne da 정말 샌디스 그 많은 분 하면서 다 정리 또 되게 딱 비상 거 되는 만도 정말 딱 성공 정말 딱 정말로 정말 되게 딱 되는 거 보면 샌디스 그
당신은 도원주 메토니 제대로 공부를
딱 비상도 기용을 속 기용을 정말 메토 같이 용 메토는 ziti kyo 딱 성격이나 ziki 거 nga ki tende o mar ziki kyong me tok pa ma ka chi da nyam de lo chi lo me na chu chi tende be kang na de ngil chi ga me tende chi cha da da nga so ma tende chi kin sam chi ne ne nga ni ye ki tu ma ma ne kon ma ne to do mo ko sha sa chung ha wo ra tende da ta yo sam chi ne ta go me
and also the foundations for the visualizations. It has to be the pure lens of the Buddha compassions. So when we visualize the pure land of the Buddha compassions, you can you have to kind of install into your mind of the Buddha of compassions and his pure land, where there is sentient beings, the people who attend the pure land or a bird in the pure land, it isn't like a ordinary rebirth, but this is the what we call through the magic kind of rebirth, where they rebirth from the flower or the lotus flower. So you have to imagine that sentient beings, and where their age is 16 years old and free from all the suffering and the falls, and as well as they are full of sounds of the compassion mantra reciting by the all the beings who were born in the land of Buddha compassions.
진짜 안돼 소소 링을 있음 거 찾정하네 시럽도 현지기 장원도 결승 선내는 건 너희지만
Therefore, and ourself, as we recite, as we visualize the Buddha compassions, as we able to concrete solidly, as I mentioned, the lands and the Buddha compassions, and then we think, then may I be transform myself, body, speech, and mind, transform into the compassions and the wisdom one. The mantra is on page number 70. The first verse. Junje manje kondo gar tosan jenje molaje toje janje rola ze jare la chansa lo om mane bame om mane bame Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum. Om Mani Padme Hum.
mane bene mane bene
do do jin re zong duo ji zhang ma le wang di sa long gu bar shu.
Terang azu shini tanda sanni go korte shisha ko sangu yusi.
Um, Today I would like to talk. Today I would like to talk about uh, nine the stages of the fixing the mind for the mental stabilizations.
Warum sameta gomte samsam jakor tena gomjak tang do shena ane ngoto chitna da lapar sawal lo kanto ki sangu yusi.
And the meditation is the one we practice frequently in our life, and also especially for the uh, newly exploring the meditations. So I thought it would be uh, good to introduce or share the little bit about the meditations practice.
Ta go tangpu te ane jopa, yin jopa, len jopa, nyoren jopa, door shepa, shur shepa, number shur shepa, zi chuk the shepa, nyammer jopa tang good.
Mhm. Um, so nine the stages of the setting the mind. First, mental setting. Second is the continuous setting. Third, patch-like setting. Fourth, closed setting. Fifth, control setting. Sixth, pacifications. Seven, complete pacifications. Eight, single-pointed setting. Nine, equal setting.
Tan jopa, sem jopa se te la ane tangbo ni TV dobli jongor, tiwa jine wa am joko nang de o de don ko ha kwa tan yam de sem te lo o de rendo wa sem no sem te la ni tawa de la sem jopa se ko tangbo sem.
Mhm. The first, uh, what we call the mental setting. So, mentals, one able to settling their mind by the or the receiving the uh, informations, what we call the by the uh, receiving the informations or the through the listening, and then once acknowledge that very the knowledge, and then we settle or the set that very knowledge into our mind. So that's we call the first is the mental setting.
Ngot jongla tangbo tram bi muktin jigor muktin te la zi sem te la pa ja yong su do ne chitang te la newa tang ma newa ni ga china ma newa de ma yong bur sem tangbo nyam song su.
I forget to miss one thing earlier. By the power of by the power of the listening, so one can able to uh, receive the informations. Not only that, one could understand or not acknowledge that very informations, and eventually they can set that into our mind. So that's we call the mental versus mental setting. And uh, for do that, first of all, one uh, uh, we have to have the meditative the target or the objects. Uh, so once we have the objects and where we can able to place our mind. But speaking of the placing the mind or these concentration and so forth, so And frequently, there's a more unstable mind than the stable mind during the first the stage of the mental setting.
어떻지로 아니 미루 곰데 갸용수 남도 마리로네 비 삼로 강 양만적 코로 영화지 용거 강정문제 코로 영화때 그런 거네 가시뼈 네 곰전네 비 삼드린로 송배 삼로 망보 코로 세삼 코코 때 말이지 때 그런 곰 잡네 용을 쏟들라 조수 저런 거 샘라 소소 남기 다시 당겨요자 삼로 샘 나라 삼로 당겨요자 삼로 광고 망보 코로 영화때 또는 좀 말이지 또 약도 그랬지
Mhm. Uh, but as a meditator, especially during the first stage of the mental setting or the meditations, uh, where we often uh, feel like there are more the darkness or thoughts arising and that never had before, and and sometimes we think that my mental stabilization is getting worse. I think because of the these destructive thoughts and darkness arising. Uh, but it isn't. This is the sign of uh, the applying uh, our the investigations because of the investigations because of the investigation as well as we paying more attention, so that's why we seeing more destructive thoughts and arising that never had before. So this is the I think a good sign.
배나 그런 거 남친 그 남기 그런 칠 남친 지오나 남친들 남녀 또 넘어지는 남친들은 뭐라 간도 미 간도 하고 요 말. 미지 결혼 때는 랑카들에 없다네 미 같은 미 간도 용도 간다 가는 지금 따고 따쇼네 겐스 때나 에 결혼 띵이 맞대 또 넘치노 때때때 따미 망고도 뭐라 진짜 배 망부 하고도 뜨는 셈라 딱시도 셈 가르친데 딱시동다 셈난다 아무도 남지 잘 거다 도낭 정도요 말 페이지는 되지지
For instance, let's say when we on the path or the highway, um, usually we may not know how many vehicles and pedestrians are walking, coming or going. We never know. Uh, but when someone's give you a job and this is your responsibility to count the pedestrian and vehicle, how many coming and going, and then uh, you will able to you will able to kind of like count the numbers of uh, the vehicles and so forth. Similarly, our mind, the busy or the traffic of our mind, where we can able to uh, gauge the busyness or the traffic of mind, and uh, um, that seems like I never had before, but right now it's feel like more thoughts than before.
어때 된저다 배나 조바 조규도 당보 배나 미로스나 당보 오시로 특밭 당보 미용시 당보 사드 특용도 오시 저도 미티다 돈시로 셈나 셔령도 그 당통 또 특용도 특반으로 들리지레시
And so the first stage of the mental settings where we um, um, it is like the meeting someone that we never met before. And when we first meet someone, so we will kind of become a familiar or the recognizing that person's. So that first stage is like this mental setting.
다 니와 인든 적 봤어. 인든 적 봤어야 돼. 까브레 아니 저 망었다 망었다 남짓 나가서 직접 많이 봐. 열대스 랑스 좋다 봐. 되게 아니 저동다 남도 또 뭐고 상골 뭐고 요때 이나 남도 대스 용례로 왔던 섬대 셈라 대스 칸냐보는 전에 인도 적 봤다. 인대스 랑리로 줘. 다저 아주 미드나 다 미사와 등 오신이 대신 동리로 진 대스 직질라. 이유 전부 찬도 될 수가 있어.
The next is the continue setting, continue the setting the mind, and so that will be um, where we able to set our mind quite longer than the first one. Even though there are numbers of the uh, destructive darkness, what we call the uh, laxity and excitement. But even though they are present of the laxity and the um, excitement, but in during the second stage, we were able to uh, we were able to lengthening the setting the mind. For instance, second time when we meet the same person at the from the beginning, uh, we be familiar more than the first time, or we become a more close to the first time. So that's something like that.
어떻게로 아니 데라 곰장으로 쓰다 가진 그 발칠 다 아니 잠바 그 shungwa tonggo pa zini, ta sem te la zi nisa di tangbo simna, tangbo pa pa hako ra da, hako yu te le pa, tes yarambo ni der zo ani, yang mana sem chalo la, yang roa, cham roa, yang mana sem samlo pa masapa zini sem nang ni jin roa, na te nga ta gongwa, parchin ro ma yu ra, sem ni tongbo nyo ka te ma yu ra si.
Mhm. And uh, the during the first and the second mental setting, uh, there are more often uh, there are more obstacles than others. The obstacles such as the laxity and the excitement. Um, for example, when we understand the meditations and the knowledge, where we try to set our mind, and but because of the presence of the laxity and the excitement, sometimes our mind kind of keep distracting, wandering around outside, and sometimes the mind is not kind of like clear, feel kind of feeling kind of drowsiness and so forth.
Di ka te la te, soa mang sten go sem te yang sam ta yang sem tong gre, soa mang ten go si.
So
But
during that time, one's need the power of the effortness.
soa mang te kar ten go sa, tangbo ha go i don te yang ma ji la yang sem chamba chi go si. Chambi to, TV don la to la te ni, don dong ha go ro, ha go yu muk ten chi yor, muk ten sem na ma ji ba chi ni, te yang chamba chi go si.
So during the first and the seconds, one has to apply the power of the efforts, which is very important. So meanings for example, at the beginning, we use our power of the listening, where we gain the informations and so forth. And once we have that informations, and then we try to apply during the meditations, but due to the laxity and the excitement, uh, it kind of like hindering our practice. So that's why it is important during the first and second, we have to apply constantly the power of the efforts. Very important.
어때지? 네 트램비 톱디 바 공니 콘트 페프 손에 마제바 사오니 그거 용서 네 르베 셈니 심바디 네 란디 적바 네 코 타뇨지 카티나 디 닝 코들라 니도 카티 셈 양송하다 람송스라 공 용트 보르지
Um, so as we develop our the practice during the first and the second mental setting, where we uh, where we force our the power, where we force our efforts, the power of our efforts, and so as we increase our practice, um, so there is the less distraction. Simi yung lemba.
양리 용어도 우리 파 양나 람송스라 스라 코르
Yeah,
용거지
so there is a less distractions, and if even though if we lose our meditation concentrations, we were able to bring it back easily. So there is third is coming, what we call the closed setting.
답변나 벤춘 주제는 그런
Sorry, but it's not closed setting. Sorry, patch-like setting.
벤춘 지는 것도 다다 정말 질라 이유로 치트 당보 특한테 당보 소소 치트 토바이나데 근데다 njok pa se den ro charo ji niwa te den rongri ji ni yera bo lo yong zu chi de so so rongri chi yong zu niwa de charo da yu ji da chi de do ngi do ko yin sam sam lo de ko rong ra de china samba de da ani len de jo zu de ko pa chi pa dang zong na pa ko ra jim ni yang ji jin do sa da da ji yong go do o de na ji sem de pa lo dang na ra de s pa lo de yang ji di ga dang ko mo pa di ga ma sa le ko ji ko
Um, so there's a very interesting the examples of the three the mental settings. The first one is the mental setting, and the second is the continual setting, and third is the patch-like setting. So Geshe gave the example. For example, uh, when you first uh, get the puppy, a beautiful puppy, and so when you first get the puppy, so it's like a first stage of the mental setting. So you just met that beautiful puppy, and you just have this beautiful puppy, but both of you not become a good friend yet. But as you spending time more and again, and then you become bit closer, and or become a bit friends of your puppy. So this is the second mental setting, where we what we call the continual setting. And then as because of the power of efforts you put in order to become a familiar or become a friends with the puppy or your mind, then even though there's a distractions and so forth, where you can able to bring your mind back easily. For example, if once you become a good friends of puppy, then you let the puppy kind of walk away a bit far from you, but puppy will eventually come back, right? Because the puppy will recognize his or her the owner. Similarly, so this is why we call the patch-like settings.
da da semni jiwadarwa semni jiwade nyorin jokpa nyorin jokpa se de garazna semte jini soso mugpa de la taniri son so ne semte la yachiri son samlo rupe da guyang re lo son hajang batsu sta jimagwa semtela ni tibgur. Teta ni orso, teta nyamte ani, desi, ta sherib ji chanro pat, bino o ti ni tangro, te shobat chi tibgur da. Jongpa, uh,
Mhm. Uh, uh, the fourth is the what we call the close setting. The close setting during the close setting, we uh, become more close to our practice or our mind, and become kind of like a mind. Our practice become a bit vast, as well as the comfortable with our practice. and and uh, so so we have to yes, sorry.
ta ani, teni, ta ngawati orso ani te, zobat, dawrshipa, lende zoban, dawrshipa zirta semdes nangla kuchini, ani ta nyomogi, nyemu ta haku, tangin zingi panyun ta sem nanga, chua kia chi yungorsi. Te ani, shijin ki top yungorsi, shijin jawa ta nilgin rondi ta haku ani, shijin ki top yungorsi.
Shijin,
Chamba tang, shijin sayate zogun, tato chingdara.
and the fifth we call the control setting, or the disciplined, and during the fifth, uh, so there are little kind of like appreciations, the feeling of the appreciations. For example, where we're able to see the faults of the negatives, as well as we were able to understand the benefits of the attentiveness. And so this all happened because of the practice of the introspections awareness.
Oda, tu jirso sem dorshi parwa, ane sem tini ya te koni peta sem ni tukpa tongorso, sem ni tukpa tongorso namyongi nyemu ki shijin ki ne, ta namjir nga zo sem di yangni de, sem yangna de la ka nyengor, shiloga kiamdenga de la, chigita dochaka konsu tobi chungo, dochaka konsu tobi de, chua se, shangwa tang, gopa de kanyamba de, dochaka konsu tobi, sosu dochaka se de karza, zigdatoru roksha nga wo kanong yit umachila sem chagani, de yangzi sem nga, o de nga la gogu samanda chanchini, di shokde de sem yangzi shor ro de, de gopa. Chua ina dochaka kai mi ngewa yomar, sem daga giwi shokla, chua shokla ma giwi shokla, chua shokla kanta sosu mugpa de la yani shalola jamba changi wa de, sem chua se kura. O chua di konsu toba la ne, 인용 걸 노적 공스도 받는 노적 공도 많이 받 망 좋았던 거 샘 좋았던 노적 그 틀고 그러지
the
높이 연등 거 공스 텐데 있던 거 참.
초보라는데
주방
주비 값수.
어때 용도 특히 그때 때문에 초아도 용을 거다 너 초이 님을 하고 내 당연히 연드나 아샘 네트 거지 남영 님 저도 남영 세도 좋아하러 샘 거스 겁니다 샘 양도
The sixth is the pacifications. Um, during the sixth stage, because of the continue the practice, where we able to develop our practice, but still, uh, even though our practice is much better than the previous the stages, but there are still subtle excitements, and uh, uh,
남양 님하고 또 남양하고 좋지.
yeah, subtle excitements. Um, but excitements, speaking of excitements, so there are two kinds of excitements. One excitements due to the our desire and attachments, um, attachments which drawn by uh, the outer senses, such as form, sound, and so forth, where we increase the attachments, increase the our attachments, which distract our mind. But the excitement doesn't have to be driven by the attachment. It could be virtues, because of the virtues, informations on virtues. Our mind could being distract, or create the excitements. Uh, but for the laxity usually driven by the attachments.
어떤 질서 때문에 존리지 좋아지네 존리지 또 니와라 때문에 름비니 요무기 님하고 저 요무기 님하고네 당연히 이 표현 다 하고 때라 때문에 샘 초들 럭바 차정 막 강도 그러지 근데 다 정부 참모 쳤으면 타고 뭐 럭바 좀 맞지 지나다 샘니 덤바트 그러지 시월시 봤던 거네 더월시 봐 시월시 봐 다 샘라 시다가 가요 저 시디 동요 시월시 넘버 시월시 봐 넘버 시월시 봐 저네 그 강정 거 맞다
So
공장 좀 맞추지고
the the power of uh, the the joy efforts, and 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 uh, and also the continue developing our practice, and where we often able to see the faults of the negatives, as well as the benefits of the having attentiveness, um, and 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 then there are uh, where there are less the obstacles, and uh, 디갑순이 친구 탐문 주요 말씀.
정부 참모 맞고 적바요 맞다
So there are so there are only the subtle uh, laxity and the excitements. So this is what we call the complete pacified.
따띠 카드 tel라 샘 안에 샘니 덤바 통으로 초이 차드 비 용린로니 남양 그 차드 셔 요 말데 희낭 샘마 나라 고명 소곰 상위 차라 지 냥가 용거스 샘 머스 바다 머스위 제식도 봐 아니니 그 파쇼 잠바 머슬라 찬로 잠바 머슬라 띠 냥가 용거스 뭐바 머슬라 와지 너토미 다니 다다 더워 샘 데디 더워데나 샘때 싸우면 와시고 그때 상 상화도 못 봐니긴 상화도 뭐 용거스
So during the seventh complete pacify, of course we there is a less laxity and excitement, but still there's the dangers of the subtle laxity and excitement, and uh, um, so there, and also we will enjoy the having a less excitements and laxities, but there's still during the complete specify the stage, there's still uh, the dangers of the losing our meditative points or meditative objects.
tomato sonta Japan ba
Mm.
ta Japate samni Japate siji de nyambar chokpa iso sora
Rational.
siji nyambar chokpa siji nyambar chokpa ta tela tene ta shangwa tong go pa kang pa mewa chine ti china ani semtela siji de mukpa tela ta pe na marmi ro china tela pe lung go yuwa me pa ji nam sa pa ma sa pa mai ba sa shang yuwa me pa chine ta ni ta ko tena da shangul ku cha mang cho nyam do ni pui cha da 그런 게 뭐가 다른 네트워크 일단 맞추시라 치고 좁아시라 치고 말씀
Mm. Hindi num di kana kuzu.
마르미 마르미라 마르미는 무슨 소바요 롱메나 마르미 싸우 되는도와
Uh-huh.
어디 나오는 서비 창요와 그런 건데 내위 창요 네가 배 용도 버르지
Mm.
제주 당연진서 당 세상 당월 될라 세면 네트워크 당연진 세면
Mhm. So now we are on the eighth the stage called the single pointed or the one pointed. Um, so during that time, so there's no the dangers of the laxity and the excitements, and there's we oh, and so we able to the uh, able to stop the doors of the obstacles, and also um, where we have to apply without any applying the efforts, we will able to uh, the practice the meditations without any efforts during the eighth stage of the uh, mental setting. For example, so during the eighth stage, our mental setting or the practice will be like the lamp or the butter lamp. uh, butter lamp where there's a less uh, wind, where there's no wind, we will see the lamp will be very steady and clear. uh, Lamp that when there lamp that has a full butter of the lamp, as well as there's no wind, so that lamp will be very steady and clear. So during the eighth stage, our meditation will be like this, very steady and clear.
어떤 심리 고아 토용조 아니 심리 고아데 토용조다 고 ngangin chik pitelam sem tishola dojagorda batsu kan temago korang pe ngang chik tel sem chik ne onso ane ta sonri ki top jong so chis ne mo nyambar jong pa gozra nyambar jong pa ta nyam jong tela ane tangbo semni samba ni dambi part this 당연히 뭐가 뭔가 네트 그거를 네나 sem 남양 쇼트 좋아용 걸. 다 야판이 그와 파다 셈몽 저다 까티나 따티라 원지치송다 코 셈나 가르사 막 그런 지즈나 다셈 칸년 보용 걸. 강라 뭐 파티스 긍긍 안 좋고 저 디가 저저나 다로 참이 네트 거. 다 지치도 냠버 좀 용소 아니 냠버 좀 봐. 티치다 신이 다 톱고 신이 톱발라 다 단위 쳐다보지. 근데 고아 통소대
순번에도 많이 미포 양원에 뭐.
샘니 샘바니 담바 파트
음.
당보니 니와 파트 샘 니와 당와니 쪽파다 양와 실로 양와니 있는데 양와 많아 요래지 샘니 샘바니 야 그래 담바 파트 샘 칠로라 양와 당샘 소소 당연질은 쪽파니가 당네 저게 몸자치는 쪽파디 많아 용 거지 샘니 야빠니 고아다베 다 소아시테 된거 말 샘깡나 전에 타랑샤리 로데 그러지.
So, giving you a briefly the introductions of the whole the mental setting. So doing the first and second, so there you will kind of realize, or you will find that there's more distractions, and so during the third and the seventh mental setting, uh, um, there's a less distractions where you will see more, you will able to dual your minds. And during the seventh and seven and eight, uh, then you are kind of conquer the your mind, and your mind will lessons, and or kind of follow as you wish. And then at the end, what we call the even fixations, or um, the even fixations and the equal setting. So this is where we gain the shine. Uh,
근데 다 빈춘 지지기나 깨도 지정기나 당부 깨정을 당부 안 좋을라 깨 튀고로 티위도 봐 삼무통 오 티티 다트 세근드가 네 다트 양지 파 랑지 사보다 티 다트는 지용는 지우스만 다트 양지 정말 니와텔라 시다 삼로 먹게 배 하라 제송나 람성 텐트와 중这那什么就话这个在样子的兄弟把出去去呀也从那的地方公他们现在也把个的变个做那去다 톡밤에 바셰트와 당시 들지 nom바다 준 nom고 지가 다님데 잠바 삼도 당고 말디 그 그런 샤레 로자고 돈 로다 어떤지 참도 다 뒤치나다 sem왕 기트 송을다 셈나 왕전 로치도 송을지
and also it's like learning the language. The mental the nine mental settings is like learning a language. At the beginning of the first, second, and third, especially first and seconds, we it seems like it's difficult uh, because we just found the language, and and but because of the efforts where we apply uh, again and again, and for the language, then uh, even though sometimes we forget the language, but it will come again because of the mindfulness and the alertness. And so during the eight and nine, then we become so familiar with the language without applying any efforts, that that language will easily come up whenever we need to speak. So that is what we call the we now we completely able to conquer our mind.
다 진짜 부여 리모트 야블록 리모트 송다나 랑친데 셈바르지 비우드 고바르지 아니 티틀라 구르리라 아니 지금 메바도 소알 존지 zem고 난타나 지금 메토나 수파던데 지금 동거를 때려 땐도 비운데 세명사 노영 아들이지 근데 디야스나 롱 샹와르지 샹와도 고바니는 샹와르 어떻지네 네 랑친데 지금 막가리가리슨 당보다 랑친도 혼나 기로 섭디 양로도 갈레갈레네 랑친디 저디 칸냠보다 차데 가르시신도 차데 야야 손다 타마다베 고강 제는 냠바지 용도 왔다 왔다 빈춘도 디나하다 자성 참고를 쓰는 것이다.
So if you look at that beautiful portrait that we place on the doorway, you will see the elephants. Uh, you will see the elephant. Elephant represent the mind, and the monkey represent the uh,
고발
gobara, the uh, lex- sorry excitements, and you'll see the fire is represent the efforts, and also around the picture you see the flowers and other uh, the beautiful
상동다
objects
동거도
such as
놀마스
conch and fruits and so forth. So these are the represent the five senses where we often distract. And rabbits represent the laxity, and then we will see the monk and so forth. But at the beginning, you see the elephants and the monkey and others. They are front of the monk because they are where there's strong laxity, excitements, and all kinds of obstacles are very strong at the beginning. So you see the elephant and monkeys are front of the monk, but as they practice, as they uh, applying the joy, the powerful joy efforts, and so forth, and eventually they kind of turning back, and then at the end you see the elephants and monkey behind the monk, and so this picture is very beautiful being made, and as when you look at that, so this is kind of whole the nine mental stages.
텔란디 크바지요로 람고데 고콘도 진도와
Mhm.
호텔라 이시즈니 일라시바지 삼동동 그 그런다 름딘 름딘지 비라시바 최전지 비라시바다 차바메 비라시 조아메 조메든지 비라시바데 네고 당보데 름딘지 바지도 베 삼로 름진이 깔리 캡고 그래서 니와도 야 섬니 सम्बानी जवाब दमबर्द दा अनि को कंगल स्टे यो यिनच 체전 직 바제 더 리로운 지도 더니 야 손다 dambani yaba wat sem ta yin ma chwa chinde kangla ne na te nit ko ta wani ya ba su chiga chi mo ga ta rong kan som nit ko ta zo me pa chi pa
당보디 꼭 당보 김발래 뭐
rim din chi pa
김디 지
yila she pa sem na yang sam dang go so ta
니워디 일라 지
dang bo de yila she pa chama she go yila she pa dang bo rim di jik pi yila she pa rim di sam lo rim chi ne ba su chi ne pe kali yang go dang bo de ni wa te pa 차전직 비라 싶어 참참한 곰 첸도 그래 참참한 마차 된대지네 다 잔임지 그러세 근데 야 섬톰부전은 인 마치로 뒤통남 받은 차례 된데 공검나 수직이 있음 그래서 삼근다 담보 난 세마양 네트워크 인도 직 봐. 근데 야 손어다 맞춤에 버지 봐. 다 조함에 버지 공수더니 콜라 맞추 찍고 말다. 근데 쇼트 삼바다 다가로 양벌 좋다 봐. 또 지로더니 공부야 차 통보 지용으로서 샘그 샘락 받아 디용으로서 근데 신정그 대화진 시토교로서 또 신정 대화 좀또 리 신정 토르도 리때 양모 전에 백까지 내정나라 섬라 강을 배워 리라 강을 배워 용거서 근데 야 리키 신정 또비야 이용서 샘 신정 대화로 샘 농다 무슨 게 서로 왔다 대화지 용거서 서로 동용 그때 대화지
um, so so you see on the portrait you see the path and has a four curve. So the four curve represent the acknowledgings. Uh, uh, so what acknowledgings? The first, the acknowledgements of the concentrations. The concentrations um, at the beginning of the curve. You might need to uh, apply the great efforts and concentration. So there's a lot of kind of like hard work at the beginnings. So this is the first curve is the concentrations, the acknowledgement, and the third and during the third and the second curve is the uh, 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 you might it's like a acknowledgments, because sometimes we might lose, so there's obstacles and so forth, but we reconnect. So this is the one of the curve, as the second curve. And third is the continue, um, applying all the necessities in order to develop our meditations. And the last curve is the uh, acknowledgments of the no efforts. So there no need any efforts. Uh, so once we attend the ninth stage, we able to attend the samadhi, uh, and uh, where we able to control all the subtle obstacles of the meditations, and eventually we were able to uh, gain or attend the physical uh, flexity the flexity of the body, and of the meditations, uh, and also eventually we will gain the mental flexity of the meditations. So once we gain this both physical and the mental flexity, and then our kind of meditations experience will be so kind of like smooth, and equanimity and so forth.
신이 샘나 신이 도송나 샘 같이는 시식도 네트고 저때네 샘 한통 고마이나 아니 텔라 샘 찔라 네니 되게 내리게 가르리 썰조용도 한통 저 시럽시자리 시럽고 찾다가 아니 다 요모 싸와니 좀 듣고 그랬어.
Mhm. So once we uh, uh, once we able to attend the samadhi, where we experience the flexity of the mind and the body and so forth, and then you have to apply the uh, special insight, and if we able to apply the special insight is the wisdom side, where we able to eradicate the root of the negative.
어다 때리지 인사라 당내를 요고도 시다 마시기다 이나가 지나갈리 키워던데 좀 요나 통고 당내 컨터 키위 돈파 시고 마돈 소수 냠용고 강데 가 소라유 이거는 게 요거 세트 만들 때서 아니 진짜 저도나 섬니 그거 봐 냠용 토이도 되게 용 요스 바리지 아니 노라야는 공다지
Okay, so this is all the nine mental setting, and but but for me, I really don't know. And whatever I share, which all the information I share you, because I share you because of what I learned and what I heard, and but I don't have any experience of all the nine stages, the practice. But among you, maybe you are better than me, like who have that all kinds of experience, kind of like higher experience of the samadhi or the special insight or all the nine stages, and uh, yeah.
뭐 스위치 같은데 남동으로 땅 로퍼치는 거래서
Mhm.
그냥 나도 매일인데 정말 같지나 코킹한 게 같지 말고 정말 냠용지 소소 용화 접네 소소지라 기타와 바수제가 가도 매일로 찾고 그랬습니다.
And I hope that maybe uh, you guys uh,
아주 처음이라.
we all maybe together we can share the knowledge, and it's not about like when you share the knowledge, it's not about like I'm the I know this, or I'm the uh, the perfect meditator and so forth, but rather we help each other and share our knowledge to each other. So this is our main goal, to helping other and encourage others to develop their practice.
아주 다 상가 멤버 상급스는 아주 민도 공정세도 지지라. 된리가 로진이 지지라 팬토시 타가 되겠지.
So what is the sangha member? Sangha member is the represent the one of the three jewels. Third one, the jewel of the sangha, Buddha Dhamma Sangha. So sangha, what is a sangha? Sangha is the one who help others, or who help among each other. So that's the what we call the sangha.
어야, 오늘 좋아하네. 까마치도.
Okay, so we have a couple minutes. If you have any questions.
Maybe this question isn't relevant because I think most of us would feel happy if we can practice at the level of pacification. But when you're talking about level 8 and 9, you mentioned dysplexity. Sometimes they call it pliancy, physical and mental pliancy. And maybe I'll never have a chance to experience that, but I'm very curious as to what that might mean. I've heard that mentioned in regard to equanimity, the last level, but I really don't understand what that might be, the physical and mental pliancy.
The Koisenata the Kodi Kongdu ni da the Kongi Kapto ni Tatangbo Niwa Subakotu da Chik Chundu Chimambu Chiyore Inaya Tupa Pachi Tupa Dumba Kapto Ani Tupa Dumba da Jeba Babakotu the 먼저 개인이다 신장 나이지도 루 신장 샘 신장 나이 근데 디 간대 지나 한데 지 탁다시 하고 오면 되지 저기다부터
그렇지. 다들 강하겠다. 이제당 지나 신정 그 대화스다 리 신정 토용 중 샘트 바네니 남토고 차마 돔들도 남토 지점 용례 손에 샘트 사차가다 여러 영도서 샘트 사차 지점 손에 샘트 서로 동용도 마용 서로 동용도 마용 소텔라테니 리SM 근종화도 냐면 리라테니 종화 차님 저저 리트 베지고 소메와 양모 라즈 베카티 곰카티 잠나테 네트와 직데 지그 리라 강을 메와 지금 그서 호텔라테네 리스미야 신정 따뜻이 따가지 소라요 말고 근데 그 파슈나 셰큐도 셰큐만 동네 따도서 따도서 단다 싸우지 않은 게 네와 토피고니 교시했다고 만들시라 당이 삼수지는 된지 고출지낭이 배쳤는데 장주 고출지나 된지 잘했어.
um so this again I think very difficult to explain, but my I don't, since I don't have experience of the mental pliancy or the mental mental and yeah, I need help. um, Mental and the physical flexity, but the as we practice, uh, when we begin to develop the clearness or the clarity of the mind, and then it will kind of like uh, the the uh, like where we feel the less the burdens in our mind, or the more kind of equanimities of the mind. Similarly, for the body, where we feel less the uncomfortable feeling of the body, and our body will be very the light and the soft. But this is all what I what I heard, or what I learned from the book. But I really I don't have any complete certain uh, experience, but just what I heard from the book.
Sini nyomjik tila tumni sem ta tsijik ta ni songay na li gongla ane kanga me chata na nga zo nyamjok ma gom jangka gom tu lo tong tra mangbo tali de jang na puti la sem ta ni tani tani lorgi yungo warsi.
The top din you know what I
Ota sini tumni ti nyomjik zini gopa la nyomriz ba gopa la nyomriz sem tsijik ta pa nini ti tana sem tang na tusonda da peti li u tonglan chi wo samar li chun yirame ba nga tongson da kang sekando da gom jamni mi tongson na ti paro la kachi sekando nima kachi nga tinang jini li niwa ma nyamba chini lo tongtong mongbo tini ngo nyumba se tini lo ji yor se ta
and the higher meditator who complete and who gain the great samadhi, and so there's historically it's happened like where the meditator can live thousands years, uh, and even some of them maybe without breathing, and so forth, because of the power of the samadhi, and they can able to remain. And in some case, after death, but even though the person stopped breathing, but they're very subtle, the consciousness, or they're able to still kind of like functioning, and their mind like single pointedly, uh, and have a samadhi practice.
ten zata li tang semi ge ten ba se chi lisum ge ten ba se lisum ge ten ba de ka chi ne ma chi pa ne wa ti phar zo te li ge ni wa ti nyam go chamar chi ane lisum ge ten ba che song na te ne nga zo lam song phong bo te ta ru nin chi go
The gomjang in order.
che tang nga zo
Okay.
hong bom jan
Okay.
chong
And generally, the mind and the body are dependent, depending each others. So one of them like fail their functions, then it will stop working, and it will stop working.
ten zata bo ge char ta zo na ra tang bo ni sem da nam shi ti na cham jo tan lisum ge ten bi de wa ta cha song na te ne ku ka le te ne ta ku cha ta mi ge 홍보 차선에 된 존데 미게 홍보 준비 때문에 자동 농지 이용 거라지 어때마다 때라 뜻당 밤에 그쪽 냠든 좀 받점지 때라 미착도 맞대 가서 리슴 된다비 니와 뜻당 용거 하지
For example, uh, uh, when uh, the the formations of the baby um, uh, doesn't doesn't appear, uh, doesn't appear until the both the mind and the form exist together. For example, from the father and mother, the union of their blood and the sperm doesn't mean the baby is being created, but uh, it has to be equally uh, uh, contained in the body of the mom body of the babies, their minds, and the body.
된스다 될라더니 된 종아 된종 돈때니 삼노동하나 오코니 리섬거 텐템비 된종거 될라더니 아주 미트병 와치트 될라더니 림드리세데 리당 짐드리세데 제켄 된드지라 텐니 엔디오 텐드지 종아세 다도 소마 삼탕사시워세.
So this is all shows the dependent arising because of the baby's once the baby and the baby's mind and the body exists, then where we can see the baby of the babies. This is because the dependent arising, and also we call the cause and effect, and how it comes because of the cause. We'll see the result.
오케이. 야. 오케이. 컨트롤.
Yes.
Is gratitude or contentment even still an object of distraction in meditation?
Can you say again?
Is contentment or even gratitude what in meditation still yet an object of distraction?
The also the 도박 강대죠. 도박 강대 직단이 the same the 가딘 템바로 나와다 가딘 템바로 가와로 줘라. 된수 the 고민나라니 the same 영이 차가 로르베스이다.
곰 잡을 당보는 초시 왔다. 너바 총하세 듣고 응원으로스 때 차지는 원으로 참고 차진 지그지.
초시다.
응. 너바 총수 초시 왔어야 돼.
네. 로르베스.
내가 너 초시요나 그러면 상고그 차트시다 마요. 선나어 다른 저기 돼. 참만 저기 돼요. 삼노되나 그 어디고 누구 센티 용고 말와. 누구는 놓쳐가고 놓쳤다. 그거 삼나다 샘도 같은 트로스 니페트 로송네 삼노 터선데 손에 샘글 람송 공아도 우드지 군 자네 로자고. 어때 진짜 또 그것도 뭔로 찾기 지지. 적시당 로송 적시.
I think contentment. This is the this is the requirements of the at the beginning of the meditations, because of the if we have contentments and having less and so forth, which help us to remain our meditations without any distractions, because if we have a so for example if we content what we have, so there is a less obstacles of the laxity and the excitement. Usually the excitements and it happened because of the we wanting more, and I want this, I want that, so it will distract our mind. But if we are be content what we have, so it will help us to remain our practice meditations smoothly without any distraction. So this is kind of requirements at the beginning of the meditations.
삼으스노 땅에 내가 잘 송나더니 땅에 곰 잡긴 요다 지세 당나라한테 있잖아 요라 이나 상고르다 또 내가 좀 잘해요 말았어 땅에 동신 너무마 저지 뭐 말았는데 다와 게티니들라 그때 같이나 땅을 내가 잘 송나더니 랑가 치고 진짜 세거스 그때 내가 잘해요 말았더니 이마도 받게 좀 이마치겠다 미치게 동네 로크를 통했더니 getting gain the large so gain pugita pe tamoda the tamodu garzne pugita leka charne leka langata ga ro gse ta tonson de rocket ko karte ata one is to chadars 초시 때마다 내가 잘 보여.
So, but it's very funny. That speaking of the contentment, uh, because we always say, "I will do my practice or meditation after I finish my job or after I finish my work." But honestly, our job and work never finish, right? It will come. It will come. Constantly. For example, I give you the there's a story happened in Tibet, the Tashikil monastery. So there was a teacher and his students, and the student always uh, asking teacher that when we're going for picnic, and teacher always say, "Oh, when we finish our job." And so every time the students try to get away from work and to have a picnic, but teacher will always say, after we finish the job, but they never go. But one day, so there was uh, numbers of people who carrying the dead body, and then students pointed, "Oh, teacher, this is really they finished their job." So what is saying like we really never finish our job, but when we die, now we really finish job.
제가 당아서 뒤수 동바서 조조고 수니까 답지냥 수직 당이니까 당도는 통벌스라 이바로 때는 소수다 삼루지야 마땅하지 냠는다 공식다 빠져 당도나 다 야고요 정말 지수 쇼핑하고 지수 때스 당 딱 요새
So that's why it is very important to always make a time yourself, and at least within the 12 24 hours, 7 days, have some space for the practice, for the meditations. And myself also, I try every day to put myself into practice every day, so it will help us,
바로 때치기였어
especially early in the morning.
근데 또 거네 다 내가 다 등장이 방고였지
So after 9 a.m., then I'll go for work and to work outside, inside. Yeah.
오케이
사진만 주만 사진만 들려요, 뭐라 올라왔어.
레드는 못 쓸어요
Okay. Well, thank you, Geshe and Tempa. If you would like to make a donation for this teaching, it would be greatly appreciated, and you can do that by calling 812-336-6807 or by emailing the center at tmbcc.kcl@gmail.com. For those of you here in the temple, I'll pass around the begging bowl. And if you would like to make a donation to the monastery, it'd be very appreciated. And there will be no teaching here next week for puja because there will be a retreat. So we'll send out an email.
Next week, no class.
No class next week, retreat.
Yeah, which is retreat. Yeah.
Yes, will be a retreat.
백인보다 눈이 더 많습니다
But bathing Buddha.
Oh, but on Tuesdays, am I right? There'll be a bathing baby Buddha ceremony here. That's right.
June 14, Tuesday.
Yeah.
June 14.
At 10 a.m. And everyone is welcome. Thank you.
Closing prayer on page number 80.
Lo me ma re ge don ro nam de ja vi hong bo dong ma som be zhe ro gan de ja me yang ji zi vi ji zong de da be re ba ngen zang lam ji zhong nian de zhe bi nian zang nian xu xiong ge zhe zhen dou bei lang ji xu zhao zi wei zhang wei tang gui zhuo wei ye ji men ba se xi ya wei dang ba yu rang zhen zhi dang ba ren qian chou gui ma zhe cha jiang yang ber zhe wei shou ye qian bo yo ru zhu ba pa de sa wer xie per shou se jie yao wei ma xiong zhen li la zhe shang qiu lang jie ren bei jiang tan du nan jie yu la hu de shang ya wen za pa rang de zhong jie zong zhe bei de jie zhe xie jiang ga jian se xie me dang me men ce ro gan de yao wei ngao ba yi nan da lam dang zhe wer ma zhi qi gang zi dang ba qiu la qi zhou zhi zi zhen zhen la zong ba de ye zi de nan jie de zhou xie shang zha xie jiang su xiu gen jiang jie ba dian za wei la ma ren bu jie da su nian ge pa mi dang jue la ga zhen qian bo gu ne jie song de gu song de jie mi zhe za de su qiang ju sen chuo ren bu qi ma jie ba ne jie 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 wa nian ba me ber yang gong ne gong de bei wer shou gang zhe ra wei gu wei shang keng de ban dang de wa ma ne zhong wei ne shang re zi wang dian zhen jiang zu yi xia bei sen jie ba de dian jin jue ba wang zhe de jian ba dong kun de zang bo de yang de shen de da gen jie ji se da lu jiang ye wang de da tang zhe ran de ngo Yismo shabe gyawa tamje je ngowa gangla chokde ngabade Dajen diwe zawa de kunja Zangbo shushi rabde ngowarji Pande jone tamba darshan je Tanze jiwo tamche kankang zong Lechen kanla derje yongwe ne Sanje tamba tate jijir je Hunde jawa zongka we Tanjo shenye ngese zabe de Yawe ngabe lansan tenye le Keche sanyang domba majo Okay, thank you everybody. Cut them right.